doing today? I'm glad. Well, to pick up from last class, we're going to continue our discussion in determining independent and dependent variables. So, as scientists that we are, we have to design our experimental procedures. And so, in order to answer a scientific question, we have to know exactly as the experimenters what we're going to change. So, in order to do that, we do that through variables. And has anyone heard before independent variables? Is that a new term? Any idea that you may have before?
We know what it is.
Okay, give me your best shot. Go ahead.
Okay, so an independent variable is a variable that you can change in order to see the effect of your experiment.
That's a really great definition, actually almost spot on. So yes, you said it's the ability of the experimenter to change something in the experiment so then we can see a result. And they act alone. So now, continuation with that, what about dependent variables? Anybody had another chance to hear the word, perhaps? All right, go ahead.
Do dependent variables depend on something?
Actually, they do. So just like the word suggests, the dependent variable comes after the independent. So they're the they're the effects of the changes that you made from the independent variable. So let me give you guys an example. Let's say that we as a class get a goldfish as a pet. And our question is, we want to know how much is it that the goldfish, what affects the goldfish growth, and how much can it go in a certain time. So how much can our goldfish grow? And so in order to create this experimental design, we want to know what we can change. So any examples as to how we can create our independent variables? Go ahead.
How much we feed it?
Awesome, awesome. How much we feed it. Anybody else? Brian?
How much light we give it?
Awesome, awesome. How much light we can give it? Awesome. Let's see. Anyone else? No suggestion? Go ahead.
How much space we occupy?
How much space? The space occupancy. Good. So, now we know that these are things that we can change on your experiment, and these act alone. So then, when we have our independent variables, we're going to have, as a result, the dependent. And what did we say it was, Gabby? That we are going to see a dependency. They're going to be a cause and effect on this. So because of this, we're going to see a result of that. And this dependent variable is going to be seen through the data results that we get. Right? And so let's see. In an experiment, we know that we have to change only one variable at a time. Why is that? Go ahead.
Is it because if we change too many things, we won't know what's affecting the dependent variables?
That's a really great answer, because in fact, it would be very confusing. We don't know whether how much food that we gave it actually made the difference, or if the space that we made for the goldfish actually made the true difference. So it's about clarity, and we avoid confusion. So when we put our data, we're going to see that the dependent variable is always going to be in the graphs as we see. When we see our dependent, remember in math we see the graphs as the x variable for the dependent, and the y variable is going to be, the independent, and here's going to be the dependent, where we have here how much we fed, for instance, and how much growth, right? Now, in order to summarize this lesson, we're going to do a little academic cheer. So I'm going to do it first, and then you guys are going to follow right after, okay? So here are the lyrics so that you can see. Independent variables causes changes, and they act alone, but dependent variables are the effects of changes as a result. Independent variables causes changes, and they act alone, but dependent variables are the causes of changes as a result. Woo! Awesome, guys. Good.